Hey, let's talk about some soccer. So, one of the headlines that I just saw is that Timothy Weah is making a move from Juventus to Nottingham Forest. So, it says here that it's part of a two player deal with a Belgian winger that's also in Juventus, Samuel Mbangula, and they're both being it's a package deal for $25 million, and they're going to be going at the end of the FIFA Club World Cup. It's interesting. I was reading, the stats here that Weah scores 7 goals and 6 assists in 78 appearances across all competitions for Juventus. Those numbers are not really good. Maybe that's the reason why he hasn't been getting any tick in this FIFA Club World Cup. I think it says here that he played in the first game in that blowout 5-0, but he didn't come in the second game. We'll see if he plays in the third game. Nottingham Forest does have this pattern of signing American players, which is cool. I think Gio Reyna was there on loan, and Matt Turner just spent the season there, or he was bought by them but then loaned out. This is an interesting time, and I also heard that Malik Tillman might be going to the Bundesliga, maybe Kaiserslautern, or somewhere, I forget, but I don't know if that's a good move either. Let's go through these three transfers and see what we think, starting with Timothy Weah. So Timothy Weah and all of these guys, they're going through what happens every cycle leading up to a World Cup. So you want to play, you want to be fit, you want to be in form, and even if you're at a good club, it's what's most important leading into the World Cup is getting minutes. You want to be sharp, you want to get game time, you want to get minutes. And I've always debated with people about the national team because the US is a unique country where our best players they have the option to either stay in MLS and be a starter and play in week out, or go to Europe and possibly sit the bench and not play all year, but you get to train with Borussia Dortmund or Chelsea or whoever, right? And so there's always been this discussion, is it better to play every week in the MLS, or is it better to sit the bench in the Premier League or the Bundesliga or La Liga? A lot of these players are dealing with that question right now. I think Timothy Weah is seeing that Nottingham Forest, who finished 7th last season in the Premier League and is going to be competing in the Conference League, I think he's imagining that's going to give him more chances to play. And in the Premier League, that's a really good league to hone your skills leading into the World Cup. Now, what could happen is the same thing that happened to Gio Reyna and Matt Turner. You go to this Premier League club, you think Nottingham Forest, that's not one of the biggest names you've heard of. So you're like, oh, I'll go there from Juventus where I'm sitting the bench, and now I'm going to get all these minutes, and I'm going to be fresh, and I'm going to be ready for the World Cup. But what if you go to the Premier League and you don't play there either? It's this big risk that American players face when they're trying to find the right club leading up to the World Cup. Now, there are some players like Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, Johnny Cardozo. These guys are starters on their respective teams, and so they need to stay put. No transfers. Timothy Weah definitely needs to find somewhere to get minutes, but is the Premier League the place to do it? I don't know. I think that Malik Tillman is actually making a mistake by going to the Bundesliga. It might be a higher level, but he's a starter and a key component of his squad in Holland. And would it be better for him to stay and play another full season, fit, getting the reps, being a starter, building confidence going into the World Cup, or stepping up, maybe not having as many minutes, maybe struggling and it damages his confidence, and now all of a sudden he's a question mark for the World Cup? Another big question mark is Matt Turner. He was quote unquote our number one in goal, but if you've been watching the Gold Cup, Matt Freese has been the starting goalie for all 3 group stage matches. Now, Pochettino says, well, Turner is a known commodity, so now I want to see, if this other goalie can figure into my plans. It's an interesting comment because I think if Zach Steffen wasn't hurt and Patrick Schulte was available, I think that Matt Freese is number 4 for the U.S. So you're wondering, why is he even giving this guy minutes if everyone else is healthy? How does he even factor into the goalkeeper discussion? I have a suspicion. It's because Matt Freese is the bona fide starter for NYCFC in the MLS, and he plays week in and week out. He has game sharpness. Matt Turner rides the bench everywhere he goes, and I think that even if he played a couple games for Crystal Palace this year, I don't know if he was the starter for the FA Cup or whatever he won with Chris Richards. I just know that he's not getting that week in and week out experience. And goalkeeping is one of those positions where even if you're in a lower league, I think that just the reps of being out on the field is what you need. I think that Matt Turner is making a mistake by staying in the Premier League and fighting for a position this close to a World Cup. If I was him, I would just, swallow the pride, come back to the MLS, get a good solid season under the belt, and then after the World Cup, go try out in Europe again. It's not going anywhere. But I'm going to tell you right now, Matt, if you spend another season riding the bench and competing in Europe, Pochettino will not rate you, and you will also be fighting for a roster spot for next year's World Cup, because Zach Steffen is playing week in and week out for Colorado. He has Premier League experience, and Patrick Schulte plays on he's a starter for a really good MLS team as well in Columbus. These guys are all getting reps. They're hedging their bets that if they play in the MLS and they get these reps in, this game sharpness, they're going to beat you out for this position. I think it's a big red flag that Pochettino, knowing that you're not getting the minutes at club level and that you need some match sharpness and you need to play, and he's not playing you. Now, maybe he'll put you in for the knockout round, but you didn't play any of the group stage matches, and I think that's cause for concern. So, any U.S. players that you'll see in the transfer window over the summer and in January, rest assured, all these decisions are going to be based on how do I get the most minutes, how do I stay sharp, and how do I put myself in the best position to be chosen by Pochettino leading into the World Cup. Let me know what you guys think. Is Timothy Weah going to Nottingham Forest a good move? Is Matt Turner staying in Europe a good move? And should Malik Tillman stay put at PSV? Only time will tell if any of their decisions are correct, but we'll just have to wait and see. All right, talk to you next time.